Hey everybody, Pastor Doug here today on this very warm day here in Oklahoma. Spring is here and I'm so thankful for that. I hope that you're doing well wherever you are. You know, most of you know that I've lived in a number of states, 8 if you're counting their home. I've lived in 8 states, and you know, as different as we are, as many places as we've lived, as many places as we may be from, we all have one thing in common, and I've noticed one thing that is true of every place I've ever lived. You ready for this? Here it comes. We all think we have the worst weather. It's just a human reaction. I bet you thought I was going to say our state has the best barbecue, or we have the best chili, or we have the best baseball or football. No, it's weather. Weather, hands down. In all the places I've lived over the years, in the last 40 plus years, you hear it wherever you live. People always say, well, our weather here is different from any place else. Our weather here is the worst. Our weather is this. Our weather is this. Like I said, it's just human nature. Here in Oklahoma, we have a saying, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. But you know what? I've heard other people in other states say the same thing. It's just something that we like to use. I don't know, maybe sometimes a little bit of reverse pride to make us feel as if our weather is the worst and so we're suffering the most. Which brings me to my thought for the day. This suffering thing. Have you ever considered how easy it is to just get into a suffering mode and a suffering mood and start thinking that you have it worse than anybody else? All of us are in this crisis together. And you know what? There are some people that are suffering more than others. There are some people, and we don't know why. There are some people in life that are born with 2 strikes against them. There's some people in life. In fact, I often remind our church here that in America, poverty here in America, it can't be considered poverty when you compare it to the rest of the world. Here in America, if we're from America, if we live in America, we're so blessed. But we have a tendency sometimes as Americans and Christians to really emphasize how much we're suffering and how much we're going through. You know, I think of people in the Bible like Elijah, who thought there was nobody else left who was doing what God wanted him to do. And I think of Jonah, who had everything to be grateful for, everything. God used him to bring the greatest revival in the history of the world. And yet, by the time you get to chapter 4, Jonah, you see Jonah is discouraged, upset, thinks that he's suffering more than anybody. The greatest sufferer in the Bible, the greatest sufferer was a man named Job. Job didn't like his suffering. Job didn't understand his suffering. But Job knew that God loved him. And Job didn't gripe and complain. His wife did. And Job corrected her and said, you're speaking as a foolish woman. So what am I saying? I'm saying in this time, when so many of us are trapped here at home or feel like we're trapped, we can't get out and do what we want to do, we can't go to work, it's easy to fall back and say, oh, woe is me. But I want you to give that part of you to God. And I want you to start thinking, instead of woe is me, start thinking, you know what, I've got it pretty good. I've got it pretty good compared to a lot of people. And I'm going to do my best not to complain every day. I'm going to do my best to stay encouraging and stay positive and trust God to get me through this jam, because it's not the first jam that you've been through. It's not going to be the last. And God brought you through the last one, didn't he? Remember that. God bless you. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow night at church at 7 o'clock. We're going to be talking about the Lord's Supper. This is Easter week. There's so much confusion on the Lord's Supper. So tune in tomorrow night on our public page, Crossroads public page here in Jenks, America, and we'll talk about that. God bless you. Have a great evening.